We have with us President of Standard Associates, Mr. Khalid Masri. He will talk from his experience as a consultant on this subject. Thank
you. Good afternoon. By now you should have all the information you need about standards, and there's very little left for me to tell you, but I will try to add to either your confusion or your clarification. So if I can ask for a show of hand as to how many in the room comes from a business as opposed to government business? Okay. How many are considered themselves to be small and medium enterprise? Okay, good number. Good, thank you. I wanted to focus my discussion today. Of course, as you can see, the title of my presentation is Strengthening Private Sector Innovations and Competitiveness Through Standardization. I wanted to focus it as much as possible on SMEs, small and medium enterprises, because SME received a lot of attention the past 2 days in this conference because it is considered to be the engine of the economy. It is the job creator and sector that really pulls the economy. Here in the United States and in Europe, SME is very important. In fact, in Europe, 99% of the businesses are SME. In Saudi Arabia, we learned yesterday that it's about 35%, which is substantial. So what is the relationship between standards and SME, one might ask? Well, if that much of the economy is SME, it might be useful to know that without standards, you cannot be competitive as an economy, as a company, and so it behooves us to really pay attention to it. And I wanted to kind of flip the coin and look at standardization from the point of view of a company that produces product, service, or contribution to the economy, as opposed to us all being consumers in one way or another. The easiest explanation of what a standard is, we all probably have a USB that was given to us in the packet, and you take this USB anywhere and it plugs into your computer, it's going to work. So thanks to standards, that's what makes this really work. And if you are a producer of USB or any other similar kind of device, look at the amount of market penetration you could have, which you couldn't have without standards. And so that probably says it best. Now, a German study, or a study that was sponsored by the German government, attributed the benefit of standards to their economy to be about 17 billion euros per year. And so this is very, very sizable. So what I would like to do is to talk to you a little bit about us, Standard Associates, then talk a little bit about achieving industrial competitiveness and stimulating innovation through standardization, which a lot of this has been partially covered, but I will not make it too boring for you. If there is some repetition, I'll go through it quickly. Then talk about future trends, opportunities to foster collaboration. So Standard Associate is, in a nutshell, is specialized in consulting and support services to develop and implement regulatory compliance and market access strategies that help companies succeed globally. We are not a standard developer. We are not a NIST, SASO, or ANSI, or BSI, all these good big names. we are the glue that bring the regulators and the manufacturers or the companies together and form a bridge so that these relationships really make sense and produce products that can compete. This is what we do best. What we are proud of, our name is Connecting Markets, Advancing Trade. This is what we really think we do best. Our work can be summarized in 3 services. The regulatory research is for global market access. We provide this for manufacturers, certification bodies, which are the companies that put the label on any product that you have, a computer or a mobile or electrical equipment. You have that label, the UL in the United States, or the CE mark, or the TUV. All these marks are the passport for products to really travel and cross borders. We also work with laboratories that need to know what the standards are. As it was explained earlier, there are thousands and thousands of standards, maybe just for one sector. Imagine all these other different sectors. So we work in telecom, ICT, data centers, lab equipments, all type of products to help make it easy for these products to make it to the across borders. The second service is project development and technical support, and we work with the certification bodies. These are the companies that manufacturers or companies that have a product or service go to and say, please help us. We want to ship our product to Saudi Arabia or to United States or to China, and we need to understand their requirements and comply with it because we want to be able to compete on our brand. So it's a brand building exercise, and so we help make that work. The last one is strategic advisory. We work with countries. Countries are today acting like companies. They have to compete. This conference is really to show that Saudi Arabia is a competitive country, and to do that, they need to show that they have excellent quality infrastructure. They have the SASO and the Saudi FDA and all the different players that ensure not only safety and the health of the consumer, but also if you go and set up shop and produce cars, your cars is going to be accepted in the United States because they are at the kind of the same level. And so we work with countries, ministries of commerce and industry to help them set up those kind of system in place. This is the industrial competitiveness framework, or the quality infrastructure house, I call it, because each of these pillars support the quality infrastructure. And you have to have all these pillars working effectively and efficiently in order to carry this or support the quality that makes your economy competitive. And the bottom of it is the policy framework, which is we have the Ministry of Commerce here that set up policy. Then we have the institutions that sit on top, the SASO in the United States, of course, NIST, and then we have those that set the technical regulations. The technical regulations are the document that say you shall do this, you shall do that, and usually these are kind of a regulation or mandatory standards. You cannot say, it's not optional. It is set in stone. The standards sometimes are optional or sometimes are mandatory. Then you have on the right side of the house is the metrology, and metrology is what my colleague Eric spoke about, NIST being the metrology lab, and then you have the rest of the testing, certification, the conformity. So this is what I call the standardization policy framework pyramid. Now, we talk about competitiveness. In order to be a competitive country or industry, you really have to have laws that are based on regulation, which are based on standards, which are based on specification. What does that mean? That means if the law or regulation is developed in isolation of the SMEs, the manufacturers, those that really have the know-how, the laws will not be effective. They would not support competitiveness. They will not support innovation. You need that to start at the base. And the way that works is if you have industry groups, industry association that get together, and you have the Pepsis of the world come in with the Coca-Colas, and they're all coming together to work in some way, coordinate and produce specification, then the standard bodies can benefit from that. But if the standard bodies were to just issue a standard, that becomes a problem because the manufacturers may or may not be able to live with it. And that's where problems start. I'll just quickly cover the certification. Why is it important? You have two sides, the first party and the second party. First party is the supplier, the company that sells, and the second party is the consumer. And it's all about confidence and trust, building trust in the product that you buy, and you don't need anybody else if you can determine that by yourself. When you go shopping, you're looking at the shelf, and there are different options. You pick the one that, so you are the second party in this case. Sometimes it is not as easy because there are so many different systems in a component. Say, take a computer or a car. There are so many different things that goes in it. And the system is so complicated that you need so many different standards, things we see and things we don't see. There need to be a independent company. We call them third-party conformity assessment certification, but they go in and make sure that everything checks. However, sometimes there is a level of risk. Not all products need to be really verified because there is cost in that. The more assurance you try to build in a product, the more costly it gets. And so there is a level of high-risk products, low-risk products. Let's say you want to buy a stapler. Really that's not really as important as if you, wanting to buy something that is going to be consumed, food, health-related, something for babies. So that's a high-risk area, which this is how the level of scrutiny is determined. This is, again, another level of verification. This really, I want to just talk about this a little bit because this is the this is the roadmap to competitiveness. You really have to compete, and the way to compete as a manufacturer or as a producer of product or service is you need to have your tooling, quality control, specs, patents in place. If you have that, you need to show that you conform. Your product conform to whatever requirements the SASOs of the world and the NIST and ANSI of the world have, or wherever your product is destined. And that is done through what I just explained and what my colleagues explained, certification through different means. Finally is connecting to the supply chain of whatever country you're getting your product to go to. This is how you get your product from the factory to the market. This is really through this process. And the final step requires something called mutual recognition agreements. And this is what we really need to be talking about between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has some similar arrangements with other countries. But without that, it's going to be difficult to get products into countries because different conformity assessment systems will make it create barriers. So I know I've exceeded my time, and I just want to quickly conclude with the following points. More collaboration is needed between private sectors and regulators on standardization. We need to do better outreach to small and medium enterprises because that is the engine of the economy. And we need to involve them in standardization because without them, laws and regulation developed will not be conducive to creativity. And we need to have mutual recognition agreements in place. And finally, we need to work on developing accreditation systems to enable manufacturers to compete globally. So with that, I thank you for your time.
Thank you.